All right, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the LMU Coaches Show here at the Santa Monica Brewworks. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Jesse Cass, and I'm first joined by LMU women's tennis head coach, Agustin Moreno. Agustin, thanks so much for joining us here tonight.
Thank you, Jesse.
And Agustin, you've been at LMU for a couple years now. You really had a strong season last year, 17-6, 7-2 in the WCC, and both of those were some of the highest marks the team has seen in years. In conference, the best since 2006, and the best overall record since 1995. So what has it taken to have that turnaround and have your players play so well?
Well, it's all based on, first on recruiting, and then obviously of developing the players. So the chemistry has been very good. We had very good freshmen that came last season. So I think we're going to be strong for a couple of years.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about some of those freshmen and those recruits that have played so well and made such an impact. What do they do well specifically, and what have they brought to the program?
Well, we had the first All-American in history of our women's tennis team. She's a very tall player. Veronika Miloshnichenko. She's from Russia, and she's just very talented lefty. She's left-handed, and she just knows how to compete well in crucial times.
Yeah, and going up in this conference, you mentioned 7-2 was your best conference mark in quite some time. What did it take to play that well in conference, and what do you see going forward to this year and carrying that over into the new season?
Well, we lost to Gonzaga one of those matches, and we lost to Pepperdine. We got Gonzaga back in the conference tournament, so it's going to be hard. There's a couple teams that are very even. To do well in the conference, I think we have a little more experience. We have basically almost the same players. So especially in top of the lineup. So I think we got a good chance of doing well this year.
And how important is that to, as you mentioned, bring back so many of the same players and just have them develop from last year onto this year and just improve from what they did a year ago?
Well, it's going to be, obviously experience helps a lot. There's actually, when you get to know them a little more, you can improve more of their games. Obviously, there's always a challenge in trying to do better. This year last year we were ranked 55 out of like 326 Division I programs, and we just want to get better. We want to make the NCAAs. I think last year we were very close in making it. We just needed a top 40 or 45 win. We didn't get to play that many. We have a lot of chances this year, and teams around from 30 to 50 ranked, and so that's going to help us a lot.
Yeah, and obviously you've been building up toward getting ready for the regular season. You have Oregon on the road coming up this weekend to start things off, but what are some of the specific things you have your players work on in their off-season training to get ready for the full season?
Well, what I like them is to compete a lot. It's very important. Tennis is all year around sport, and it's very important that even when we're not in our season, or we're in our fall season where they compete in singles and doubles only, for their rankings, and even in the summer. I mean, tennis is it's a game that you got to compete, and so I really like girls that are looking to be professional tennis players, and that they try to play in the summer professional tournaments, and that's the only way to get better.
Yeah, and we know obviously the weather outside is not usual for Los Angeles. It's been raining the past couple of days. Has that affected your lead up to the weekend coming up in Oregon as far as how you can prepare and have your players get ready?
Well, yes, obviously it's been hard. In Southern California, there's no indoor courts. We're going to Oregon. They play indoors the whole year. They are coming back next year and playing us here outdoors. So Anyways, in tennis, you got to face so many adversities. You play indoors, you play outdoors. You play on high altitude at, for example, BYU, and you play in lower altitudes, and it's very different. So we just got to adjust and compete hard and do our best that we can.
And you mentioned or we've talked about the game at Oregon. There's some other, big schools in the schedule in USC and UCSB and many others. But are there any specific matches that stand out, or are you just focused on just one thing at a time?
Yes, one at a time. Obviously, conference is very important. We want to win it this year. We came in second last year. Probably to win it, and also and beat some of the top schools in the nation, big names like UCLA, USC. We got Arkansas from the SEC. We got Oregon from the Pac-12, and that's basically the top schools that we're going to play.
Yeah, and a note on you personally. You previously coached at South Florida. What brought you here to LMU, and how much have you carried over from your previous job and previous experiences into this experience here at LMU?
Well, I love California. I played at Pepperdine, and so basically it's been the place that I like the most in the United States, and obviously LMU is, for me it's the most beautiful school, and it's just the whole atmosphere in LMU is the best that you can look in at school. I love how I've always liked small schools, not with a lot of students. Like I think in South Florida we were, I don't know, around 50,000. So it's a big school, and this is much smaller, and I really enjoy it around here.
And finally, before we let you go, you alluded to it a little bit before, but what are some of your goals for this season? Of course, talk about winning the conference and getting to the tournament, but for the team and for some of those individual players that you have in your mind?
Well, we have a couple girls that can, again, be All-American. It's very hard. Only very few people get to be All-Americans. Obviously, maybe, I think there's a couple girls that have a chance of making the NCAAs in singles and doubles. Have more people make it the NCAAs as individuals and as doubles teams, and obviously be ranked higher than last year.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. For those here, we thank you for joining us as well. It's Agustin Moreno. Good luck in your season opener on Friday.
Thank you.